Hi everyone. This caricature is of Winston Churchill, and he's a prime minister. And I watched a few bios on YouTube. That's my screen that I'm looking at. There are 11 pictures on that screen, nine or I think there's 11. But I normally am watching also a video on my screen as I'm sketching. But in this case, for him, I wasn't able to find any videos except one, like where he's giving a speech, and that was only after I had already shaded it and finished the caricature. So anyways, I'm starting, as you can see, on an 11 by 14 sheet of paper. That's my first sketch. I normally start off on a small thumbnail, but I don't know, I just felt like sketching him on a large sheet. And then I was going to trace it. That was my plan. I thought I was going to do at least two, maybe three sketches on two or three different sheets of paper. But this was the one I kept. So this first sketch that you see me doing is the one I'm going to stay with. I started off with the circle, and it turns out that that's going to be his forehead. But I thought that was going to be, I was going to fit his whole head in that circle. But as I saw his face, I just thought of a circle. So that was the very first thing I sketched. If you go back to the video in the beginning, I just sketched this circle. But I did envision him large and sitting down. And as I went through some research, like on this small bio video I saw on YouTube of him, I noticed that he had some connections with Hitler. So I had an idea of having him sitting on Hitler. And so that's why I have him sitting down in this sketch. But I just jotted down a bunch of the features, as you can see, the eyebrows, and all these things will be moving in a little bit, but I just kind of drew them on or threw them on the sheet of paper. That way I know where they're at and what I was going to do with each feature. But eventually these features, I start to move them and they start to evolve, and I just kind of change them here and there. But these are the basic features and the basic placements of, I guess, what I had in mind when I was studying the guy. Now, I did study the guy's face for a good maybe 15-20 minutes, just looking at his features and doing nothing else but looking at his features and how they play with one another and the relationship with one another. I was doing that, and that doesn't include the time that I was finding pictures and cropping them and placing them on my screen, and watching his bio, a small bio on YouTube. So I was studying his face before I did any sketching. And then I did also look at Nate's book, Beasted, and just kind of looked at it, the way he was coloring, and looked at his exaggerations to kind of warm up a bit. Let me see, I'm using a mechanical pencil, but I'm at this point, man, the video is moving super fast. The ear, I wasn't too sure where to place it. I knew I wanted to get the back of his neck. I had like a profile on my screen, and so I knew how he looked, the back of his neck. I knew how that looked, and I wanted to capture that because it's not very long, but he has like this hunchback. So I wanted to capture that, and that's why that's on there. So it's kind of like a mixture, like the last video. It's kind of like a mixture of features from, sorry about that. It's like a mixture of features from different angles. So you have basically like a front quarter view kind of. The eyes are kind of straight on. The nose is quarter. The neck is obviously it's a profile for the neck. You can only see one ear, so it's kind of like a quarter view. And then he's sitting down. You can only see, well, you see both arms in a little bit. I have one arm coming out to the side, doing his signature peace sign that he always does. Almost all the pictures that he has like a peace sign. But anyway, so eventually, see that circle for his forehead? I didn't really think I was gonna put the eyes, like I was gonna attach the sockets inside the bottom of his forehead. I wasn't gonna push them in there, and I wasn't gonna do that naturally right at first. It was only after I started, doing all the major features, and then all these ideas started coming into my mind, and I started just changing it up here and there. So that's how it is a lot of the times when I'm sketching. I'll do the main features, I'll throw them out there before I forget them, the main exaggerations, and then all these extra stuff like, like the sockets. The sockets are in the forehead, and that little lip that's right above the cigar, that little space, and then wrinkles and all those little things. It normally doesn't. Those things don't go on the paper until like after. It's almost like an accident, or as I'm sketching, I'm just kind of experimenting. All those little things that help with likeness, by the way. Like sometimes a lot of the details can help, but all those things don't come until like halfway through the sketch or towards the end. Like I did Floyd Mayweather a while back, and his face is all moved and changed. That wasn't what I planned out to draw at all. It was only like towards the end where I started playing with the features and moving them and changing them, where it just kind of evolved that way. I didn't plan it; it just kind of happened as I was sketching, especially towards the end. So same thing with this, but I didn't spend too much time. I'm pretty sure I could have, as far as pushing it, and I'm gonna try to do another one like just with pencil, just to have fun with this face, because I don't think I pushed it enough. Looks kind of like a monster. My wife thought this looked like a cockroach when I showed her the sketch, and then after I painted it and everything, she said it looked like a beetle. So it kind of changed in different animals, and I wasn't even trying to draw him as an animal at all. But anyways, I had fun with this. One thing I will never do again is a black and white watercolor. I hated it. I mean, I normally have that I want to quit feeling about all the time, and that feeling goes about 50, 60, 70% of the time of the way, and then it kind of goes away. It fades away. But in this case, this I want to quit feeling, it was kind of mixed in with this looks very sloppy, weird feeling, and I didn't like this at all. I started off, there's like two blacks. You see in the video, there's like these two blacks right there. The one on the left is like a gray. If you're familiar with the Winsor Newton watercolors, there's like a gray one. And that gray one I use to mix in with like the browns and the pinks when I'm doing like the shadows, and it gives it like this slight purple tint, just for the shadows and stuff. So I started off with that gray, and it by itself with the water, it looks kind of bluish. You see the ear? That's the type of gray that I was using, and then I switched over to the black square or watercolor. And then I tried to color on top of that grayish one that has that blue tint in it. Anyways, this was just it was a bad experience for me inwardly. I wasn't really enjoying it. It was kind of sloppy. I wasn't sure what I was doing. This is my very first time doing a black and white watercolor. And next time, if I want to do black and white, I'm just gonna stick with pencil. It was just way too much work. I'd rather have done maybe like an acrylic painting. It was fun. It was a good experience. I'm not sure I'll do it again. I'll probably just stick with pencil or pen or something like that. I think I'll do ballpoint next time. I haven't done that yet. But it was good to try it out at least once. I've seen Marvin. He does a great job. And David Optebeck, I think he started doing it recently. And he does a great job. I think it works well with the realistic type of technique. I think it works well with that. I just wasn't sure how to do it. I even tried to add a bunch of details towards the end, like wrinkles and small little, like the skin pore technique thing. And I've seen Marvin do it, and his colors and stuff when he watercolors. And I think I tried that, and I think I messed it up. But anyways, I tried, and so I'm just doing the techniques, adding the shadows. This basically just gets darker and darker and darker, and it almost felt like I overworked it too much. And because he's a really white complected guy, and I made him kind of dark. Shouldn't have done that, but I added the background color. I made it real dark, hoping that the face would kind of brighten up a little bit. I probably should have stopped right there I shouldn't have gone any further, but I just kept going. I just didn't like it. Just kept going and kept going. There I am adding all those little strange squiggly lines and cross-hatching. I'm trying all types of things, just kind of like a mayday. I'm just kind of sinking, and I know I'm going down, and just trying everything. I'm just trying out everything. I'm doing squiggly lines and pores, and I add just, in that area right there, I just add too much in the cheeks. And as you can see, the little glares just turn out to be like little white spots. And then later on, I get the paint. You'll see in a little bit. I get some paint with it's called a galaxy marker. I started adding some white in the cheeks. Man, this was just it was tough for me. I had fun with the body. The body was nice. I mean, I think it came out okay. The body. It's just the whole face and the skin. It was very difficult for me. The cigar, I didn't have planned to draw it. It was only till the end. I noticed that a few of the pictures that I had, he had a cigar, and other pictures that I saw. So I just threw that in there because there was extra space. And anyway, so I tried different things. I knew he had that blubber in his jaw or his cheekbones, all in that area. It's like really weird, so I wanted to make that stand out a bit. That's why I exaggerated it in that way. I'm drawing Hitler right there. As you can see, I'm inking it. I did the pencil, but now I'm going over it with a brush and doing the details. In a little bit, I'm going to be painting the blood, and you're going to see how I did the splatter. I basically take blue tape and I cover up Hitler's head a little bit. I cover up a little bit of his hand, and then I just splatter it with one of the brushes. I did add a little bit of red in the cheeks. Man, I was just trying everything. But anyway, so here's the splatter. It's in normal speed, so you can see how I did it. If you've never done splatter, this is how you do it. You just kind of flick it. You get paint, you dip it. I guess I didn't put enough paint there. You might not see it, but there's a little bit of splatter there. And then I'll just go back and forth. I go back and forth, and I basically put, the more paint you put on the brush, the better. But then you just flick it with your finger. You put it up to the paper, not too close, and then you just splatter it. When I first started doing this, I was wondering how the other artists were doing it, and I was practicing on a sheet of paper. So you might want to take a sheet of paper and just kind of practice, and you just flick it a few times, and you get a good splatter. So that's how I did the splatter there. But anyways, the eyebrows, I had fun with the eyebrows. His eyebrows are kind of funny. In some of the pictures, they're real clean. They're real, like, there's no hair out of place. And then on other pictures, like the eyebrows, they're like wacko. They're like, you've got some that are curling and some that are going out in this direction and that direction. They're going everywhere. So I had a choice. I had a choice to pick which one. Do I draw the one where it's straight and everything's in place, or do I draw the eyebrows that are wacko and crazy? And I decided to go with the one that are a little bit crazy, because I think that's naturally how he has them, and it's also a very unique thing that he has with those eyebrows. So I decided to draw the thing that's most unique about him, and the one that's more, I guess for me, it's funner to draw. But I'm doing the background, as you can see, and I'm just kind of blowing the paint, the drops here and there with the hair dryer, and they just had no purpose. I was just kind of trying out things. This is all an experiment to me, just trying out black and white watercolor. So I was just kind of doing this on the fly, and it turns out that those drops, those strings that are in the background, I turned those in at the very end, as I was uploading the picture. I turned those into small bombs, because he had some. I read on Wikipedia. He had some things going on with the bombs, and it was like his idea or something. Then he pulled back that it wasn't his idea. But anyways, you see the bombs there, so I threw that in there. So anyways, we'll see you next time.